Testing. One, two, three. Guys, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Happy Monday. Usually we do the show Monday night, but I like doing it at 3 o'clock on a weekday on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I think I'm going to keep Mondays at 3 because it just gives me time to do some other stuff in the evening instead of me doing everything during the day. And then I feel rushed at night. I don't know. But either way, I'm here this afternoon. Hi, guys. If you're at work in your cubicle, at least you get to watch and listen, right? Hi, Sirius, Michelle, 100, Hillary, George. Please like the video, share the stream on all your social media outlets. Comment. If you would like to donate, you can via Super Chat. The judge is joining us today. Yes, he is. Because it's still Man Up Monday. It is still Man Up Monday. And then I know he's available during the afternoon if he doesn't have like any appointments and nothing like that. Because, in the evening, he sometimes may not go out and have a little cocktail or dinner, a little date. So it just gives us both time to, be very available. So, yeah, guys. So, what we got to talk about, honey? Crime crackdown. Trump made a major announcement. He held a press conference. He is deploying the National Guard into D.C. to crack down on crime. He also wants to make Washington, D.C. more beautiful, the beautification, crack down on crime. I guess he's going to try and probably get a couple of laws passed, but that is his jurisdiction. And he wants to take over DC. He wants DC to be federally controlled. So he is issuing, I believe it's section 704 or something, enacting section 704. And he is taking over the federal government is taking over the DC Police Department, and he is deploying the National Guard. I am going to play some of the clips of the press conference. So that is the main topic. Of course, we have to talk about his meeting this week. I believe it's August the 15th with Putin, and they're going to be meeting in Alaska. Now, he said Russia, but I heard Alaska. I'm going to have to fact check that. Then he deployed them in New York. No, that was LA. He deployed the National Guards in LA for the illegals. Yeah. So he's meeting with Putin this week. And then I want to talk about Nobel Peace Prize because, of course, he's meeting with Putin, I guess, about trades, tariffs, and most importantly, what's going on in Ukraine. Got to talk about Letitia James, honey. She is under an investigation. Yes, now that the rabbit got the gun, the Trump administration is coming after her ass. And I think they should, because she wasted New York State taxpayer dollars on a witch hunt. So it's time to pay the piper, Want to sprinkle in a little bit of SCOTUS. They have an interesting case coming back to the Supreme Court that has to do with same-sex marriage. And of course, some pop culture. And I just have one pop culture story, and that is David Justice. David Justice is what, 60 something? I don't think he's 69. He's 60 something. Why is your old ass talking about your first ex-wife, Halle Berry, who you divorced, I think it was like over 30 years ago? Why are you bringing up the fact that she didn't cook or clean? And this is when Halle Berry was the A-list. Well, she's still A-lister, but she was the it woman, the it factor. She had it going on. And she still does. But everybody was in love with Halle Berry. But you saying that she didn't cook, she didn't clean, and she didn't seem motherly. Why would she cook and clean? You hire people to do that. She didn't have time to do that. You knew what you was getting into. But for him to come out and say that now, that's so corny. So corny. Let me call the judge and see where he's at, honey. Because I kind of want to just talk about the David Justice real quick before we get into the show, just to get that out the way. So that would be my monologue.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you hopping on?
I'm standing outside trying to get a signal.
Okay. All right.
All right, ciao.
He's trying to get a signal. So while he's trying to get a signal, let me bring up the David Justice thingy. How I want to play this. I want to do it like this. Yeah. All right.
We probably could have made it if I knew about therapy. If we knew about therapy, we probably could have made it, because we never had any major issues like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that because I was young and had only been in, honestly, one real relationship before her, my knowledge and my understanding, my wisdom around relationships just wasn't vast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at my mom, and I'm a Midwest guy. So in my mind, I'm thinking a wife at that time should cook, clean,
Traditional.
and then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? And at that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, don't clean, don't really seem like motherly. And then we start having issues. Listen, we never I'll say this. We never had any issues about other women,
Mm-hmm.
other men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I was never tripping when, I was tripping one time when she,
Hold on, I got one time I was tripping.
at one time, because I didn't understand it. When we were out to lunch in LA, and I remember I'm from Cincinnati, man. I ain't even in LA scene like that. And she see an actor that she worked with one time, and he came in, hey, kissed him on the lips.
Oh.
What are we doing around here?
Was he European or American? I'm
Yeah,
confused.
American.
What the fuck is going on here?
Oh, so I know this attention until I decided to leave her in 1990. It really wasn't a lot of negative attention until I decided to leave her in 1996. I remember Halle saying to me, hey, she asked me to marry her after knowing me for 5 months. So I'm looking at my mom, and I'm a Midwest guy. So in my mind, I'm thinking a wife at that time should cook, clean,
Traditional.
and then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? And at that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, don't clean, don't really seem like motherly. And then we start having issues.
And here's the thing. So all of a sudden, she didn't seem motherly. So then why did you marry her? I don't like that. I don't like when an ex, I don't care if you were ex-husband, an ex-boyfriend, when you want to get on social media or talk about me in public or even gossip to friends and relatives behind my back. That is so corny. So corny. It makes a man look less than a man. Like this, that is male behavior, feminine behavior. Women shouldn't do it either. But to see that about Halle Berry, and Halle Berry gets a lot of flack. Oh, she can't keep a man, too pretty, the too pretty type thing.
So we get home and I ask about that. Oh, that's what we do in LA. Oh, okay then. So now her manager and I used to go to this restaurant all the time. I had a young lady at the front seat us all the time. We went there so much, she became so friendly. We got to hugging her every time we come in. Hey, how you doing? Just regular hug. Take Halle and his wife to lunch one time. I said, Halle, this is such and such. This is Halle, right? Halle looked at that girl, saw how fine she was. Man, she gave it She gave her one of them, like barely touched the hand, right? Just played her crazy. I was embarrassed, bro. I was embarrassed. I was like, but wait, hold on. I just hugged the girl.
Right.
You kissed this dude and you mad at me because I hugged the girl?
Yeah. So again, wait, how can I do this? Oh, this is better. David Justice is corny, and that's why their relationship ended. Their relationship ended because he's corny. Maxie says the Halle thing seems believable. Pretty women who can't keep a man, they're the problem. No. And that shows me, first of all, David Justice, and for you to think that way, Max, lack of accountability. A lot of you guys hold lack of accountability. And then he said, she asked to marry me. We only known each other for 5 months. So why you say yes? Why did you say yes? You didn't have to say yes. You could have said no. If she wasn't motherly, you knew when you started dating her, she wasn't cooking, she wasn't cleaning, because she probably had, I'm pretty sure she had maid service. So again, why are old grown ass men acting like a feminine male? And a lot of you dudes out here act that way. You're chatty patties. You talk more than women about your exes. Even if you're with a girl, you're quick to go back to your boys and talk about what happened with you guys sexually. You guys talk too much. You run your mouth too much. And then you wonder why it's hard for you to keep a woman, to get laid, or she's doing this to me, the Me Too movement, yada, yada, yada. It's everybody's fault except for mine. And he's remarried for a little over 20 years. And his current wife probably runs the household. And the bottom line with David Justice and men like him, you were just too weak to lead your relationship, to lead your marriage. Because you didn't have to say yes, but you probably say yes because it was Halle Berry. But during that time, he was David Justice. He went to 7 World Series. I don't know how many rings he has, but I know he has at least 1 World Series ring. Top ball player. And 30 plus years later, you want to complain about your first ex-wife, Halle Berry, out of all people. And this is the thing, Halle don't talk about none of her exes at all. She never does. Never does. She's minding her own business. She is an advocate for menopause, which I do love. You know, she has her children who she loves, who she's motherly to. She's in a healthy relationship with Van Hunt. They're a sexy couple. So why you got this woman, okay, you was on a podcast, they probably asked you a question, but you could have said something. We were both young and dumb and, we didn't know what we were doing. That's it. That's it. Hi, Judge.
Hello.
How are you?
See you talking about something irrelevant.
Well, I think I'll get the pop culture out of the way first.
Yeah, I hate it. Anyway, it's a waste of my time.
You ever heard of the baseball player David Justice?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we don't have to talk about it. He was actually Halle Berry's first husband. And now he's talking about, well, we divorced because she didn't cook, she didn't clean, and she didn't seem motherly.
Well, okay, fine.
So,
What's
yeah.
that got to do with much anything?
That's what I said. But I'm like, why are you like, I don't like when people talk about their exes.
Got nothing else better to talk about, or somebody's interested. Why not? You're talking about it. So anyway, it's a matter of, that's what they used to have on the last column, the last page of the last section of the newspaper. It was called the gossip column. Then it spread to the front page of the tabloids, and now it's front page mainstream America.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I did pull you in early this afternoon. I just want to see what the afternoon Monday crowd is. You know, we may go back doing it in the evening if you're available in the evenings or if that works better with your schedule. So I kind of, want to do.
Most of the Monday crowd ought to be not listening to us and doing the work their boss is paying them for, or that if they're the boss, they're trying to pay themselves for instead of listening to us. But it's a prime time for social media when you are bored at your job and you're in your cubicle and you're tuned into something besides what you're getting paid for.
Well, here's the thing though, because people could listen while they're in their cubicle. I used to
They
do that.
aren't supposed to. They're supposed to be thinking about their job and what to do.
You could think and listen at the same time.
They can't. Most of them can't multitask. They can't even unitask. So anyway,
All right.
welcome to being naughty. I'll help you out. Don't get.
Well, then let's get into the meat of today's topic. I did watch Trump's press conference to where he is declaring, President Trump announces he will be exerting his powers to take full control of the DC Police Department from the city government and is deploying the National Guard. So I want to play this.
He should have done that a long time ago. This thing about granting DC self-governance is kind of a farce. It started out, came from Maryland. It was supposed to be used as a governing district of Columbia. That's what DC stands for. And it's gotten out of control, typically, as per the usual with blue run places. It's incompetently run. There's a lot of misappropriation of funds. There is an agenda that has very little to do with the day-to-day existence of the people. And we suffer the embarrassment of Washington, D.C. being the most dangerous capital in the whole world to be in. That's not bad.
I'm going to play this clip.
Purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
I don't have a problem with that. Give somebody a chance to do something. They can't do it, fire it. In this case, fire the D.C. government. They've got the home rule charter. Constitutionally, they aren't entitled to anything other than what Congress gives them. So here you go. The Congress put this in place, home rule, and it set up some conditions. And as chief executive of the United States of America, of which it is the capital District of Columbia, he's evoking the authority that they vested in him. He's dealing with his job. In other words, it happens. You have an opportunity to run something and you don't do it, you get fired. The board replaces you, you lose your job, the boss says you're gone, the stockholders say time out, the voters say this, and when it's a situation that isn't a voting circumstance, it's just district circumstances, which is unique. You're out of there. And the whole thing about making D.C. a state is absolutely preposterous. It's just a small, medium-sized city. And to give it 2 senators and 2 congressmen is a travesty. That's just a way to stuff the interest of the rainbow crowd. And if you want to give them the vote, return the whole damn thing to Maryland and just keep the Capitol Mall, and that's all you really need. So that would satisfy that. They could vote for Congress and senator and all of the rest of the stuff, and it is what it is. Just bring it back to being peaceful. If somebody doesn't know how to act, show them how to act.
Well, I want to play this clip here because this was interesting.
By the way,
Told them whatever happens, they love to.
On
What?
Facebook. He said the R word twice. We can't say on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. This is YouTube, but yeah.
YouTube or Facebook permanently banned me. I mean YouTube. I confuse them. They're getting to be like the same.
And let me play this clip.
Told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from...
So basically, he's giving the National Guards, even state
the DC police who say ordinary, he's saying, kick ass. We will turn a blind eye. We didn't see it.
Yeah, so they're saying if you spit on them, they can hit back.
And we won't prosecute. See, you have prosecutorial discretion. So if somebody's saying you do this, you know, it ain't gonna happen. Now, what's this we're looking at?
So she is right now currently the mayor of DC, and she's holding a live.
Oh, is this one that's doing such a piss poor job of trying to run this small city? Yeah, okay.
So,
what's the name? I don't even know this person.
Mayor, DC Mayor. I think it starts with it. Let me see if it's in this description.
We've got Urkel as the mayor in Memphis now. That's what they're calling the fool. We've got Chief Do Nothing Davis. We've got Urkel Young, and let's see, we've got the Clown Council.
But here's the thing, though, because I have pulled up the stats of the crime in DC, and apparently violent crimes decreased by 35% between 2023 to 2024. Homicides dropped 32%. Robbery fell 39%. Property crime decreased 11%. Motor vehicle theft dropped 25%. Year to date,
Oh, that's a
wait,
lie.
let me finish. Let me finish.
Go
Year
ahead.
to date in 2025, violent crime down 26%, homicides 12, robberies down 28, assault with a dangerous weapon down 20%, property crime down 4%, motor vehicle theft is no change. So
Excuse me. That's just like this bullshit in Memphis where the city hall has put out a directive to the police department, just don't report anything. Yeah, last I was in D.C. earlier this year, I saw a crime. You know, it's like, wow. I was born in D.C., lived there 50 some years ago, been back and forth many, many times. And it's like you're actually eyeballing it, just walking around or driving around. It's like, hey, what's going on here? This is ridiculous. And don't forget the zombies. On the
yeah, Miriam
anecdotal
Bowser.
impression, they're
That's her
picking
name,
up
Miriam
stuff.
Bowser.
This is bullshit. They're
Let's
just
take a listen to a little
underreporting.
bit. Let's listen to some of it. Just a
I
little.
know it's a failure, but let's listen to it.
Well, what I would point you to is the Home Rule Charter that gives the president the ability to determine the conditions of an emergency. Now, we could contest that, but the authority is pretty broad. And so, like, if you wanted to say the most outrageous thing, one might say, well, I won't say that. It could be something very small. Like, I'm not saying that that's what he's doing, but it could be. And if he deems it and he puts the meat around it and the argument around what he thinks is an emergency. When we think of emergencies, it usually involves surges in crime or crime that's not being responsive, or tools that we have that we can't use in the normal course. That's what, when we use an emergency, that's what it's for. Yeah.
I call bullshit.
Wanted to see if you could respond directly to some of what the president said this morning. Do you agree or have any thoughts on the picture he's painting? He said that there are, quote, bloodthirsty criminals, end quote, or roving mobs of wild youth, end quote. He also said that DC police can do whatever the hell they want, end quote. Are you okay with that? What does that mean? Do you have any response to him or the White House talking about the DC crime stats?
I mean, I think I've already addressed all of those questions. Anything else? Yep.
Scott Gelman with WTOP. You described, this morning was described as a federal takeover of MPD. It sounds like you're describing this as Chief Smith still in charge and everything will run through the department. What will this look like on a day-to-day basis as it relates to what has transpired here? What can people expect to see? Is this an instance where you all work collaboratively for big events and this is something comparable to that?
No, I don't, it's not like that. It's not like the special events task force where we work together. And I think I don't want to minimize what was said. And I don't want to minimize the intrusion on our autonomy because it is very different than working a special event. So that is not what we're trying to do.
It's not an
But
autonomous place,
chief, and I'll
which
turn
it
to her in a
belongs to
second.
the people of the United States. It's our nation's capital. Where the hell you get this idea you got some little enclave you can dig out and go say it's yours? Belongs to the people of the United States of America. You talk about England, you talk about London, you talk about France, you talk about Paris, you talk about the United States, you talk about Washington, D.C. You talk about Germany, you talk about Berlin, Russia, Moscow, China, Beijing. What the devil got into you?
That's right, the execution.
And the other thing is, it's just like Memphis. These lying folk are trying to bend the stats by underreporting what's going on. You walk out here at night, get in your car, the streets are vacant, the restaurants are closed, the clubs are closed, the businesses are leaving. It is the most violent city in the entirety of the United States, the 10th most violent in the world. And these clowns here are talking about the violent crime is going down, just like they are in D.C. This is more of this lying, dogged out stuff that the blue cities are doing. And right now, America is not blue. It went red, went elephant. And it's time that the people in D.C. learn the fact that if you want to be part of this country and do what you do, find someplace else to live and go live in a state rather than in the nation's capital, where the presumption was is you'd be there on a temporary business basis, or maybe a semi-permanent one, but your real calling is the state that you're resident of. So, I mean, they want to be part of the zone. That's like, I live in an office building. Okay, fine. Where? I live in this office building. Where is the office? Well, it's an office building. That's all DC is an oversized office complex.
Well,
And that's it.
well, here's the thing though, because so the question that I have, you know, 42% of the population in DC are black, 37% are white. And the majority of people that hold the wealth or have high paying jobs, the majority are white. So is this a way? Listen, let me finish. Is this so when he's talking about bringing in the National Guards and listen, I don't have a problem with that if it's a crime crisis and you're trying to crack down on crime, but you look at the numbers and it's decreasing. Whether they we don't know if they're fake. We don't know if the numbers are fake, but here's the question. We don't know for sure, but here's the question. You know, is this another way to criminalize Black DC residents?
No, it's not. What it is it's saying you're a goddamn fool. You got a chance to make one of the greatest cities in the world great, and you fucked it up because you don't know what the hell you're doing. You fucked up Los Angeles. You fucked up.
I'm saying that word.
I know. Well, fuck it. You know, it's time we got around the same.
Stop saying
I get it, but okay, hypocritical bastards are out there screwing up the whole damn country and the world, and they're worried about FUCK. It is absolutely preposterous. You know, they messed up Memphis. They messed up everywhere they deal with this whole agenda-driven thing where instead of dealing with day-to-day needs, economic situations, employment situations, crime situations, family situations, neighborhood situations, delivering good governance, they try to deliver a damned agenda while they are misappropriating public funds to get personally wealthy. It is a damn shame. And it is part of the whole thing. You talk to one of these idiots and they'll tell you it's our turn to get the gravy. No, it's your turn to deliver good governance, you damn fools. You have the chance now to deliver, but they're not.
Thank you, CR says Mayor Mario Bowser is only concerned with that $3.7 billion RFK Stadium for the Washington Commanders. Her agenda is not crime or homelessness.
That's right. And what's her cut?
Well, so here's the thing, cracking down on crime, right? That's good.
I saw it when I was just there earlier this year. It's horrible. The place is run down. Areas that were historically black areas, they look like no man's land. You go out there, dirt fields with cars propped up on milk crates. It's ridiculous. And they have communal auto repair operations because it's broken down.
So with that said, if you're bringing in the National Guards and you're deploying them, if you're taking over the DC Police Department to crack down on crime, okay, that's good. But what about education reform and job creation, especially reinvesting in the youth? Because during a press conference, when he had Attorney General Pam Bondi, you know, she was saying they cannot go after someone who's under 18, 17 and under. They kind of want to change those laws. So if someone who's 15 or 14 commit murder, they should be charged as adults, blah, 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 blah. So cracking down on crime is one of the remedies. The other remedies is job creation, because if people are employed, that lowers crime. Education, if people are more educated, especially the youth, that lowers crime. So it's not much talk about that.
Well, the truth of the matter is when DC got set up 236 years ago, what the deal was is you weren't supposed to live there if you didn't have a government job or a job related to governance. So if you don't have a government job, get the hell on out there and go find yourself a state to live in and be useful, because you aren't dealing with what needs to be done to make that a good place. It's going downhill. It's hellish. It is decayed, decrepit, and it is beginning to look like every other city that you get the Democratic Party running.
Speaking of that with the government jobs, because Black people, especially in that DC, DMV area, majority of the Black people that live there are employed by the government, federal and state. But with the Trump administration, eliminating and laying off hundreds and thousands of federal workers, and a lot of them were Black people, aren't we going to probably see an increase in whether it's homelessness or family struggling, and maybe an uptick
Go
in
get an honest job. There are a lot of them available, and stop supporting idiots that want to replace you by sneaking somebody across the border.
So you were born in DC.
Deal with folk who are trying to get your children educated, get them prepared to work in the 21st century, instead of those who are trying to influence them to be displaced idiots with no sense, who make a habit of taking too many damn penitentiary chances and having the inevitable to with the penitentiary chance resulted in going to the penitentiary. And then stop complaining about somebody's picking on you because you're acting an idiot.
You were born in DC.
I know. And my old man had just gotten out of the Army and he was going to Howard. Mother worked in the government and he did too, so they quickly got out of there.
How long did you live there after you were born?
About 6 months.
Really?
But
And
I've been back to DC quite often, and I used to be there with one stretch. I was working as an intern in the DC think tank.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw this thing. It's been a while back, and I've got a son that lives in that DMV area, 2 grandchildren, and it's gone down. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, but you were born in the 50s.
Now, I wasn't born in the 50s.
1950s? When were you born?
No, I was born before that, in the 40s.
Oh, well, wasn't DC nice back then? But you left when you was like 5 or 6.
No, I left when I was like 6 weeks old, 6
Oh.
months old.
Oh, well then.
But I've been back an awful lot in between.
Oh, I thought you left when you was like 5 or 6.
No,
Oh,
I
so
did
you were
not.
raised from an infant baby out in LA. So you're a Californian.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in the nation's capital and grew up in Los Angeles, man.
Oh, so
So yeah.
why did your parents want to leave? Why did your parents want to leave DC at that time? Do you know why?
It was a racist piece of crap because a Democratic asshole by the name of Woodrow Wilson signed an executive order officially segregating the place, also officially segregating the then integrated United States Navy. That was the bastard that was in the office when he was trying to spread democracy around the world, except in the United States, where the Negro was an inferior entity, a domestic animal.
Mhm.
But, we forget the Democratic Party history and we go off of la-di-da, they've been rainbowed and they make good times and they dance out in front of the polling places and have commercials with naked gay boys sliding down poles in a strip joint and say, take your booties to the poll. That's what we vote for this incompetence right here that is illustrated by Washington, D.C. right now. This is what we're supposed to the Democratic Party for. Yeah, that. Also, Fani Willis in Atlanta, Georgia. Also, that idiot that got removed from office for a professional incompetence who thought she knew more about judging than folk who knew how to do it.
You
All right.
pick on women a lot.
Bass running around violating Title 8, Section 1324, who ought to be indicted for that. Los Angeles is a mess, and that's where I grew up. Oh, yeah, we have a lot of that. A district I lived in at one time, Maxine Wastewater is the head of the district for the congressional side of things, and there are hypodermic needles all over the sidewalk. It's filthy. Trash is abundantly strewn about the place. The homeless are all over. And she says, you people are an embarrassment. Just go home to the homeless. Oh, yeah. I mean, really, it's so.
Judge. It sounds like you are criticizing nothing but women.
Well, if that's who the men running it, okay. Let's not forget the idiot Cory Booker. Let's not forget
That's my neck of the woods. Yeah.
dumb self. Let's deal with that. Let's look at somebody that doesn't hold an office, Chicken George Sharpton. Let's look at him. There aren't many. Find me a Negro male running something except some idiots in Congress, and they aren't even there.
Well, why they have to be Negro? There are a lot of incompetent.
No, I'm not. I don't see any black folk because black folk don't act like that. Negroes do.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Negroes. And I hate to talk about the ladies. I mean, I don't have any problems with women doing what they do, but I mean, there aren't any men doing anything for the Democratic Party these days, and the Democratic Party is my enemy.
Well,
I can't go out there. The lady friends I know that live in Memphis, they're in high danger anytime they go to a grocery store, a pharmacy, a gas station. Just go drive to pick up a grandchild, a child, or go visit somebody. They are in jeopardy. And who's running this place?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that, and then I look at Los Angeles. Who's running LA? Who's running Chicago? Who's running Atlanta? Who's running these places that have gone to hell? They're all Democrats. And the bottom line is find me a male Democrat running any damn thing these days. They are few and far between.
What about Hakeem Jeffries?
I just already put him in the idiot category.
So
is Cory Booker and that bunch of swishers anyway.
Putin.
I like him. He runs stuff well. He's a sophisticated.
Well, you're not supposed to like him because he's Russia. But anyway.
I don't care. My granddaughter's half Russian.
Trump-Putin Alaska summit to tackle war, sanctions, and global power plays this Friday. High-stakes meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska is expected to cover more than Ukrainians' battlefield map. The agenda could stretch from possible ceasefire deals to sanction relief, prisoner swamps, nuclear arms control, Arctic military activity, and the future of U.S.-Russia energy cooperation. Ukraine remains the flashpoint, with Trump signaling Kyiv may have to give up around 20% of its territory, a proposal European leaders and Zelensky reject. But both sides are also eyeing ways to reset strained economic and diplomatic ties. NATO, the EU, and allies are pressing for any agreement to safeguard European security, while the White House and Kremlin frame the summit as a chance to test whether Moscow is serious about long-term stability. Sources: Fox News, India.
Russia sold us Alaska, a place of ice and snow. They can sell us Greenland too, a place of ice and snow. Not the Russians, but the Scandinavians. Yeah, one of those places that America seems to have forgotten how it acquired. I don't have a problem with Putin. Putin and the Chinese came up with specific man-up programs, and the United States has done what?
Well, if Trump is able to be successful, right, with a ceasefire or just helping to end the war in Ukraine, and the deals are made when it comes to economics, sanctions, and everything else that I just named and listed, shouldn't he get a Nobel Peace Prize, just like
Yeah, he should. At least he's doing something rather than these impotent incompetents we've had for the last few decades who haven't done a damn thing in office. Fortunately, he got held out for one term and he came back with an extremely strong kick-ass mandate. And he's acting like it because he's not trying to be in for another term. So he can let it all, bam, hit it.
there only been 4 presidents who received the Nobel Peace Prize: Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, Jimmy Carter, and Barack Obama.
Woodrow Wilson is one of the most racist assholes in this country's history. He's a damn nincompoop, to use a polite term. But they gave him one and he doesn't deserve it. His hypocrisy and pushing what he did with the League of Nations is just absolutely atrocious.
Barack Obama received one.
The other one, damn son of a spy or adopted son of a spy, warmongering, murdering, 007 license to kill idiot.
So it says Obama received the prize in 2009. He was only president for 1 year for his extraordinary.
What the hell did he really do?
Let me finish. For his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples.
Bullshit.
Now,
Drone Ranger.
Roosevelt.
D-R-N-E. Drone Ranger. That's what he was.
Yeah,
a way
that's
to
a
kill
good one.
remotely.
That's a good one. Say it again. Say it again.
Drone Ranger.
Yeah. Roosevelt received the prize in 1906 for mediating the end of the Russo-Japanese War.
Teddy Roosevelt was one of the most warmongering fiends in American history. He and Woodrow Wilson clashed. Teddy Roosevelt, they named the teddy bears after, fancied himself a bespectacled cowboy, thought he was a high sheriff, rode the west on a horse, ranched, and he was financed by his hugely rich family from the East Coast. Mm-hmm. He famously threatened Woodrow Wilson with skinning him alive because he wouldn't start a fight with the Germans in World War I. So, I mean, what the hell?
And Wilson was awarded the prize in 1920 for his role in establishing the League of Nations after World War I.
Bullshit. He wasn't politically competent to get it passed in America. The United States prolonged the doggone war. It didn't come in prepared to deal with it. It should have. It was pacifist. And guess what? After they set up the League of Nations, the U.S. Senate rejected the treaty and the U.S. never joined. And he was talking about freedom and democracy and a free people. Meanwhile, he had just signed off on an official segregation order through an executive order to segregate Washington, D.C. and the United States Navy.
Carter was honored in 2002 for his efforts.
That Menachem Begin in 1976.
Well, can I finish? Stop.
I know that.
No, let me finish. Just stop. Carter was honored in 2002 for his efforts in conflict resolution and promoting democracy and human rights. So it was not because of the Menachem Begin.
It was. That's exactly what you're talking about.
He was honored in 2002. He was long gone president.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. You don't have any time limit. It's just somebody contributed to peace. That's like somebody finally gets a Congressional Medal of Honor for heroism years after he or she should have gotten it. Matter of fact, I know that because in 1976, Carter, Menachem Begin, and Anwar Sadat got the Orlando Award for human excellence. I got that same reward myself 25 years ago, so I know what it is.
So I'm still
Bob Hope and Ronald Reagan and Muhammad Ali and a lot of other people.
I'm still trying to figure out why Obama received it. The reason they're saying to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. And then it goes on to say, his vision of and work for a world without nuclear weapons. That makes no sense. Can you hear me?
Jimmy Carter, I approve of. Teddy Roosevelt, hell no. Woodrow Wilson, double hell no. Barack Obama, bullshit. Come off of it. One of the list deserved it.
So I say all that to say I do think Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Nah, I don't have any problems with it. He's done more than most of the rest of the impotent idiots that have run American foreign policy have done in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was the recent one? It was to Azerbaijan. I don't know how to pronounce that country. It starts AZ. It starts with an AZ. You know the name of the country? It starts with, yeah, the first two letters is AZ.
Azerbaijan?
Yes. And some other country. I can't pronounce that, and I forgot. He brought them
the
to
Balkans. The Balkans have been messing up world peace for the last 2,000 years. The Romans had problems with them. Turks had problems with them. Everybody's had problems with the Balkans. It's a flashpoint, a whole bunch of little principalities that have 10 people in them all mixed up, and they alternate as a hobby on killing each other off for one reason or another.
Okay. Well,
started World War One. Let's see. The Archduke Ferdinand got assassinated, and in the Balkans. And World War One started because the clumsy, inept, inbred idiots that ran Europe didn't know what the devil to do with it. The damnedest thing. Let's see. The Russians were fighting the Germans. The Germans were allied with the Austrians, who were fighting the Russians, who were fighting the French, who were fighting the English, and Grandmama Victoria was the grandmama for the Tsar of Russia, the grandmama for the Kaiser in Germany, and the grandmama for the King of England. A bunch of idiot inter-family squabbles that killed millions of people. Quite disgrace. Just absurd. Speaking of which, Macron, running France, just declared war on Candace Owens and said she was a menace. And as she put it,
what?
Lady running an operation in the basement of her home, and she's got to be declared an enemy of a major sovereign nation by Macron because she's talking bad about his wife.
I want to move to.
That's how absurd we've gotten.
I want to move to look.
That fought the Wehrmacht.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I was interrupted. This is France that took on the Nazis and lost. This is France that took on the Kaiser and didn't lose. This was France that lost to the Germans in the Franco-Prussian War. This was France that inspired the U.S. Army. This is France that became Napoleonic and ruled Europe for a while. This is France. Fraternity, equality, inequality, the French Revolution. This is France that helped the Americans get free from the English. And they are reduced to going after somebody I know, which I'm proud to say I know the woman, up in Nashville. They've turned the entire French government loose on her. That is absolutely amazing how far these fools have fallen.
All right, I want to switch to Letitia James, because She she is the DOJ takes aim at New York Attorney General Letitia James, claiming she violated Trump's civil rights. So I'm gonna play this clip here. Let's see, what is this? Oh yeah.
Over her civil fraud. Well, the Justice Department reportedly is launching a grand jury probe of New York Attorney General Letitia James over her civil fraud case against President Trump. The Attorney General's team, as you might expect, is firing back.
If you can have the presidency go against the people who use the courts of law to find him wrong when he was wrong, then they have taken this idea of retribution to places that, as I pointed out before, the authors like George Orwell would have never dreamed in their worst nightmares.
How about you take
Let's bring in Ronald Chapman, the
uses
second
the
federal defense
state
attorney
process
and
to
Supreme
go
Court
after
expert.
the
So,
government of the
what do you
United
think
States
about
of America to corrupt it with very little or scant justification called lawfare? How about that?
You know,
It's
what looks
a
Orwellian to
case
me
of
is
sauce for
landing
the
a $454
gander is
million
sauce for the
judgment
goose,
despite
and this
any
one needs a
no
lot of
fraud
sauce.
being found, and then racking up $100,000 a day in interest while we wait for the New York appellate court to make a decision. I think that the only thing they can do right now is to claim retribution, but the reality is you have a prosecutor who ran on the idea that Donald Trump was going to be targeted. She fulfilled her promise by targeting him. And when we get to look at this communication and you look at the campaign emails, you'll see that there's plenty of evidence that Donald Trump was specifically targeted because of his political views. That's why this investigation also includes the NRA and potential other political prosecutions that occurred out of that office.
yeah, she made no secret of it. I mean, she was quite open about the fact that she was running for attorney general because she wanted to get Donald Trump. Listen.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
We're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
No one is above the law, including this illegitimate president. I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
And
Well,
you
you really
Donald
aren't
Trump
supposed
that she
to
sued.
do
She
that.
sued the
That,
New York
by
City
the way,
Police
is
Department, right?
lawyer to do that. If they're running for attorney general or a judge, you're supposed to enforce the law, not say there is a specific target, because it is all so easy to use lawfare to target someone with a prosecution that you have no hope of having stand up on appeal. That's what they did to Dr. Cosby. That's what they did to President Trump. And it's going to come back on them. Sauce for the goose. Sauce for the gander is sauce for the goose. If you can go after the guy, you can go after the gal. And she take a lot of sauce to baste her big, broad behind, and she did everything she accused Trump of. You see that stuff, the allegations? I mean, they're just allegations, and people are innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But everything she was accusing Trump of doing in the real estate field, she was doing herself. She even allegedly listed her father as her spouse to allegedly falsely procure financing. So,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
And by the way, everything she did is what the Bill of Rights is supposed to prohibit, but she apparently forgot about her oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and she let that run to the side. She went and dealt with lawfare. She said, to hell with it. I have a political objective, so I'm more important than all of the people of the United States of America, and I'm going to impose my way. So now let's see what some grand juries do, because they don't have to stay in New York, just like New York didn't stay in Florida or California when they went after Diddy. Remember? So what she's done has impacted Florida. I mean, she wanted to say that they devalued what the state of Florida had to say about the tax evaluation for Mar-a-Lago. They wanted to interject her little estimate of it was worth 13 million, not 84 million, like the state of Florida said. So that interfered with activities in Florida. Somebody's grand jury down there could go after Tish. She wish. Make a wish, Tish. Them big old gals be liking you when you walk through them gates. Oh, honey, look what we just got up in here, a famous one. Girl, we got us a celebrity. You get a face to do I. They'd probably put her in one of those minimum security places the feds use, like an air base or something like that. Or maybe one of those places up near the northern border where it gets cold and snows a lot.
So, okay, so here's the thing. We're great on time. And one more thing I want to bring up, one more topic, one more issue to discuss. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines, guys. I'm going to open up the phone lines. But I wanted to talk about this because, I have to bring up the law when it comes to the Supreme Court. And I want to play this clip. Supreme Court formally is asked to overturn landmark same-sex marriage ruling. So let me play this clip.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, Pride celebrations this month come at a challenging time in the campaign for LGBTQ equality. More than 500 bills considered anti-LGBTQ+ have been introduced in state legislative sessions this year. But there have also been significant gains, including a major milestone for marriage rights. And that's giving many a reason for hope. Here's our Devin Dwyer with a closer look.
We did feel like we had a story to tell.
The love story of Maureen Brodoff and Ellen Wade runs nearly 50 years and counting.
What's the secret?
We kind of try to take each other as we are and accept what we can't change.
What began as a law school friendship evolved into a profound love, commitment, and parenthood of their daughter, Kate. And after a historic legal battle in Massachusetts in 2004, they got married.
We were married in our hearts a long time before that.
It's a recognition by the state. You're entitled to be treated the same as the person that sits next to you at work and is in a heterosexual relationship.
2 decades later, after Maureen and Ellen were among the first LGBTQ Americans to legally marry, the consequences of that social shift are coming into new focus.
The benefits of same-sex couples were unambiguous and very strong.
A groundbreaking analysis by RAND of 96 studies over 20 years finds the impact of same-sex marriage has been consistently positive, leading to more stable relationships, health benefits, and a decline in discrimination towards LGBTQ families. Researchers also look closely at claims raised by opponents years ago.
The children of America have the right to have a mother and a father.
Marriage cannot be severed from its cultural, religious, and natural roots.
We found no negative consequences whatsoever. Not one study had identified a negative consequence to legalizing marriage for same-sex couples.
More than 500,000 American same-sex couples are now legally married.
Should those constitutional rights be revisited, do you think?
No, and I don't think any conservative scholars are calling for that. Precedent is precedent for a reason.
It is within the ability of the Supreme Court in a single day to roll back our rights to the last 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, right? So we have to be clear about that.
LGBTQ advocates are cautiously optimistic.
Our community, when we show up at the ballot box, when we show up at state legislatures, equality wins every single time.
More than 500 anti-LGBTQ bills were introduced in state legislative sessions this year, but less than 7% have become law, in a major decline from last year.
It's a form of discrimination. What about those people who like to do reverse cowgirl on top? Why aren't they given the same rights and benefits and privileges and advantages?
You know what?
I didn't say equality. It's another one to impose a frame of thought on somebody. That is what is repugnant to the Constitution.
That's not
They
what
have
I
50 years they've been dealing with. How about the last 50,000 years where there is this little connection between marriage and reproduction? You know,
can you hear me?
I hear you.
You know what? I didn't mean to play that video because it was just giving a broad summation of what is going on with LGBTQ and their rights. I don't have a problem with them having marriage rights at all. I don't have a problem with same sex. However, it was this case here, Kim Davis. So it says 10 years after Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples nationwide, the justices this fall will consider for the first time whether to take up a case that explicitly asked them to overturn that decision. Kim Davis, former Kentucky county clerk, who was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue a marriage license to a gay couple on religious grounds, is appealing a $100,000 jury verdict for emotional damages plus $260,000 for attorney fees in a petition for right of certiorari.
Certiorari means it's certified by the court as having an important enough point for it.
Oh God, what happened? And guys, phone lines are open, so call in now if you have a question.
Hello?
Get in queue. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, come back. Phone lines are open. I will actually, because somebody asked if let's see, call in while we wait for the judge to come back. 438 9202 848-488-9202. Okay. What study is he talking about? I don't know. Oh my God. Almost forgot. I'll put the call-in number in the chat. Subscribe to my new YouTube channel, guys. I meant to say that in the beginning. I put the link to my new YouTube channel. It's pinned in the chat, and I'm gonna put it in the comment section too. It's called Love Your Health First. It's nothing, it's gonna be it's all about health and wellness, all about health and wellness. So I just started it. There's one subscriber, which is me, and I need you guys to subscribe. I will be uploading a channel intro soon, but go and subscribe, and I pinned the link in the chat.
You are the last party in the conference.
Oh, somebody called in and hung up. Oh my God. Where is he? Yeah, so subscribe to my new. All right, you coming back on? All right. He's trying to get back on. Yeah, so subscribe to my new YouTube channel at Love Your Health First. And it's pinned in the chat. I meant to talk about it at the beginning. I'm talking about it now while we have a little intermission waiting for the judge to come back on because he was knocked off. And oh, I see a caller. Call 347. Sit tight. Sit tight. Hold on for a second. Let me see something. 347, are you there? 347. Area code 347. Okay, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Hey, what's happening? How you doing?
Good. Can you stay on hold for? You want to speak to the judge, or did you just want to say anything? Because we're waiting for him to come back in.
Yeah, I'll speak to both of you.
Okay, so you want to stay on hold until he comes back?
Yeah, I can hang on. Can I talk to you, or you want to just get him?
Well, he just popped in just now. All right, Judge, can you? Judge, can you hear the caller?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so caller, what is it that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Why is it so important? Because I don't see the significance, and maybe you can convince me. Why is it important to y'all who gets the Nobel Peace Prize and who doesn't?
It's a matter of principle. It's a philosophical thing. Humanity operates greatly on philosophical
Can you hear
principles.
me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear the judge?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
No, I don't hear nothing.
Oh.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, you can't hear him.
Well, all right, let's try. Can you hear me?
I don't know. Why can't you hear him? I don't know.
I don't know.
Say something. Say something now, Judge. I don't know why.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I can hear you loud and clear, but I can't hear him. What has he got? Trump Wi-Fi?
No, I don't have Trump Wi-Fi. Just don't deal with the sissy Democrats anymore. But
Can you hear me?
There's a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
people,
I can hear
millions.
you. I don't understand why you can't hear.
Well, let me say this. You can repeat it to them. The viewing audience is in this too. Millions of people have been killed off of behind matters of principle and philosophy. So it is important to humans. Woodrow Wilson was an asshole. Teddy Roosevelt was an entertaining asshole. Barack Obama, the drone ranger, that's a joke. But Jimmy Carter, I think he does have some meritorious claims to be entitled to the award. It's a matter of principle, so I do care about such things. I'm not just narrowly interested in what affects me when I walk out my front door.
All right. I don't know why he couldn't hear you. Because it's coming in through the same system. So I don't know. So all right, you know what? I need to get back to this article real quick.
You are the last party in the conference.
Yeah, he hung up. So I don't know if he heard you or not. I really don't care. So anyway.
You can tune in later.
Yeah. All right. So 10 years ago, shit, I didn't mean to do that. 10 years ago, after the Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples nationwide, the justices this fall will consider for the first time whether to take up a case that explicitly asks them to overturn that decision. Kim Davis, the former Kentucky county clerk, was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue a marriage license to a gay couple on religious grounds. Is appealing a $100,000 grand jury verdict for emotional damages plus $260,000 for attorney fees in a petition for right of, what is that word again?
Certiorari. It's a certification by the U.S. Supreme Court that the issue is important enough for them to deal with.
That was filed last month. Davis argues First Amendment protection for free exercise of religious immunize her from personal liability for the denial of marriage licenses.
Yes. That is another big point, too, under First Amendment. So which one is more important, or which has to be compromised to deal with the other, or do they both need to compromise, or is there any need to compromise either? They revisited Roe v. Wade with abortion. They revisited Bakke dealing with affirmative action. So I suppose they can deal with this one. Revisited. It's one thing to say you have the equality of rights. It's another thing to impose that perspective on somebody else and force them to operate as though they approve. So, yeah. And then the whole thing gets kind of preposterous because essentially what it is why don't we have a holiday or special privileges for those who like to do reverse cowgirl on top or do it doggy style?
So it says if there ever was a case of exceptional importance, the first individual in the Republic history who was jailed for following her religious convictions regarding the historic definition of marriage, this should be it. Lower courts
I agree. Yeah.
Lower courts have dismissed Davis' claims, and most legal experts consider her bid a long shot. A federal appeals court panel concluded earlier this year that the former clerk cannot raise the First Amendment as a defense because she is being held liable for state action, which the First Amendment does not protect.
That's why you have the 14th Amendment to apply all of that to the states. So it's kind of hard to say, do these folk, see, this is the kind of idiocy that I like to tear up. Are they saying that if a state wants to, it can completely disregard the First Amendment? That's what they're complying. That's what they are asserting right here when they said that. So that's not going to wash.
So, okay.
I mean, it's a valid point.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So, does she have a case at the Supreme Court level?
If the Supreme Court says she does, she does.
First Amendment. So they're saying the First Amendment does not
If
protect.
the Supreme Court says they have a case, if she has a case, she has a case.
Well, I guess the question I wanted to ask, does she have?
I think the First Amendment applies, yes.
Does she have a shot at winning?
I think she should. My analysis, of course, who am I? I've only been doing it twice as long as damn near everybody involved in this mess has been doing it, except two of them.
Because here's the thing.
We are about the same.
So, because she's saying, listen, because of my religious beliefs that I do practice, right? Daily.
Why should I be forced to violate them when somebody else doesn't buy everybody else's release and they don't have to violate theirs? See, marriage arose 50, 60,000 years ago, not 50, but 50,000 plus, to reinforce the biological mechanism of human reproductive process. The human reproductive process. Humans tend to be paired off or committed to each other, and for a number of reasons, they chose historically to recognize that with marriage, and the whole thing was for reproduction. So now people who are incapable of reproducing, they want the marriage thing. Now, I'm not going to have to deal with it. I'll be dead before then, but people haven't had this long enough for the collateral consequences to really hit. There are things about it, inheritance and other stuff that's been long resolved in human history that now all of a sudden is up in the air. There is this other thing when you take it, like, for example, if a gay couple can get married without concern for reproduction, why can't brothers and sisters marry each other? You say, wait a minute, that will be incest. That will lead to defective children. Look at the pharaohs and the products of incest genetically. But here we go, when we disregard certain realities, if one group is entitled to get married because they want to, why can't another? So if gay folk can get married, irrespective of whether or not it has anything to do with reproduction, why can't a brother marry his sister when it has, they say they don't want it to have anything to do with reproduction? But then again, over here, you say, well, they can't, because if a true biological brother and sister got together, there is a high likelihood of defective children being born that will become something that is a burden upon the state. But then over here, you have this thing, well, what happens if you have a brother wanting to marry a brother? Well, they can't reproduce. So in American law, when the reason for the rule ceases to apply, so much the rule. So a biological brother can marry a biological brother, and a biological sister can marry a biological sister because they can't reproduce, but then a biological brother can't marry a biological sister, so that's discrimination against them. So the way to stop the discrimination is just to end the practice. That's what the law does, but nobody has thought that far. They don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't agree with you with that, because here's why.
I didn't say it was appropriate.
But no, I hear
I'm
you.
just talking about in the law.
I don't agree with that. Your example, your analogy.
Why not?
Because you're seeing it for the purpose of reproducing. They're not these.
Yeah, but
the
what
gay
else? See,
couples.
but
Let me finish.
yeah, but see,
The-
you're
can I-
missing the big
let
point.
me
Go
finish.
ahead. Go ahead.
The gay couples being married, being married is not about reproducing. It's not about reproducing.
Why not? That's how it started.
Doesn't matter. That's not why people get married.
That's what it started for.
People are reproducing without marriage.
But that's wrong.
And that's been since
because
the
if
beginning
you
of
get born
time.
that way, you are a bastard.
It's not about, it doesn't matter.
That's a derogatory
It doesn't
thing.
matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, but it's reality. But then again, back to the point. Supposing a gay brother wanted to marry his own gay brother, why couldn't they get married?
Because you're talking about when it has to do with biology, you're talking about you're talking about
The sanction against incest is because of defective
right.
offspring. That's the real basis for it. Oh, a brother can't marry his sister. That is a felony in most states, or at least a misdemeanor in a few, and a felony in most. So why can't
you could marry your cousin?
No, in a lot of states, it's a crime to marry your first
Here's
cousin.
the thing, though. So whether it's two brothers, two sisters, or a brother and a sister getting married, the incest, when the question of incest, as far as the law, that is because they don't want a
but
brother.
you run into the problem.
Please, Judge. They don't want a brother and sister being able to get married, because if a brother and sister do procreate, the child is going to come out with some type of
But
deformity.
you're obfuscating. The point is what about
So are
two
you.
siblings who happen to be same sex?
We're having a hypothetical conversation.
No, I mean, well, that's the way the law works. That's what the guy asked. Why are you concerned? Why are me and you concerned about who got the award for peace? Okay, now, because it's philosophy, and philosophy does sometimes have a concrete purpose. If two gay siblings of the same sex wanted to get married, why couldn't they? Because it's incest, but incest is because you have defective children if you get together. But the American law, the Anglo-Saxon law precedent is the rule is
Is your argument saying that?
No, it's not an argument. It's a principle.
Incest should be legal?
It's a firm, yes, it's a firm principle of American law that when the reason for the law ceases to exist, so much the law. Now, if the reason that a sister can't marry a brother is defective children, if you get a sister wanting to marry a sister, or a brother or to marry a brother, they can't have children. So the reason that keeps them from getting married has to stop. So you have to say, if we can let a girl marry a girl and a boy marry a girl because reproduction is not important.
So here's my question.
Then you can't stop.
Okay, so then I would say this then. All right, so has there ever been a case, so incest between opposite sex, that should be, that should stay being against the law. But has there ever been a case of same-sex siblings wanting to be married?
Well, there was a big thing that hit
Because
me.
it's like we're going way off track.
No, it's not. There's a big thing hit the press, the media about 10 years ago. This mother wanted to marry her daughter. So why shouldn't she? And then one of her sons wanted to marry one of her other sons. So why shouldn't he be allowed? You don't let siblings marry because of defective offspring. But if they can't have offspring and you allow homosexual couples to get married, why not allow when there is?
So then swing it back to the topic.
So in other words,
religion.
So in other words, it relates to religion. Religion is only a philosophical.
It doesn't. I don't want to talk about religion. I just want to get into the Kentucky women's
now.
case.
In other words, what happens is, under the principles of law that have long been established, why can't two siblings who happen to be same-sex get married?
Let's get back to the topic.
No, we are.
Because
you're missing the point.
Okay, Judge,
you can't do that.
To move away. I need to move away.
Well, let's put it this way.
No, you need to let me talk first.
No, I'm not. Because the bottom line is
then we must wrong, and that's not because you're not going to sit up here and say I cannot talk.
That's not the way American law works.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Talking about whether you like it or not.
Let me state what I'm stating.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So I want to get back to her situation using her religion. And I want to use religion when it comes to having this conversation as examples, because I believe that a person should be able to use their religion as their right to dictate who they want, to dictate how they deal with certain situations. As far as I don't want to issue someone of the same sex a married license because of my religion. If there were two brothers, I don't want to still issue a marriage license to siblings that want to get married, because that still goes against my religion of incest. So
okay, now, and the freedom of religion.
The point is religious rights.
Okay, what about the rights of those who have no religion because they're atheist?
Okay, then what about it?
Well, are they supposed to say, I detest this just the same way a religious
No, because again,
but I don't have the same rights.
Right. So because they're contesting it for a different reason.
And it doesn't make any difference.
So
the law can't work that way.
The
law cannot work that way. It cannot be allowed to work that way.
So then you don't side with the Kentucky woman using religion.
Excuse me. What I'm putting out is that is a red herring. American law doesn't work that way. You can't say you can object to it and your objection is honored if you base it on religion. But if you base it on a philosophical principle because you're an atheist and have no religion, you get rejected. American law can't operate that way.
Which means religious freedoms are limited. Which means
no, that's not.
This is why the First Amendment is not protected in certain situations.
It means you cannot impose a philosophical position on somebody.
No, I'm talking
that they act.
So going back to this situation, to this case,
the woman said, "My religion forbids me to do that. I can't be compelled to go against my religion to carry out this public office."
But you just posed a question on what if
no,
the person
I did not pose a different question.
You said, what if
the
person is an atheist?
It is the identical question. You're missing the point because you're too wrapped up in what you are looking at.
No, I need you to explain, because you're throwing in these other.
It's not other. You're
throwing in these other.
It
other
is a natural collateral.
You're saying, well, what if the person is atheist?
Okay,
you said that.
All right, look. Driving 80, 90 miles an hour in a 35 zone is likely to produce the collateral consequence of somebody getting injured or killed.
So much. Atheism is a religion. That is a religion.
What?
To be atheist is considered a religion.
No, it's not, because they reject religion. Religion to them is an irrelevance.
Just finish your point, though, because
in other words, to them it's an irrelevance. But the point is this: Why bring up the whole subject when the situation that produces it is crazy? I'm just telling you how the logical reason, the logical method of getting around it is this. American law must be consistent. It's got a long-standing principle that when the reason for a law ceases to exist, so much application of the law. All right? The reason that you have a law against incest is because of the possibility or the probability of producing defective children. So you have a thing that says siblings cannot get married. But what happens when the siblings are of the same sex? They can't reproduce, so the reason for the law ceases to exist. If same-sex siblings can be allowed to be married, because there is no possibility of incest producing defective children, you have to allow them to get married, because otherwise that's an inconsistency in the law. But if you allow that, then you run into a real problem, which is if siblings can get married, what about straight siblings? And then you manufacture an incurable problem with deviating from the law, which was marriage is only associated with reproduction. It does not have to result in reproduction, but that is something that cannot arise unless you have it. Now,
this is not about incest.
It's about incest
it's not about Judge, listen. It's not about same-sex. It's not. Let me speak now. It's not about same-sex marriage. It is about her religion.
Of a situation
Judge,
like that.
let me speak. I'll let you speak. Let me speak. This is not about same-sex marriage. It is about religion. Her religion.
It's not what it is. Religion cannot be imposed, but it is something that does not have to be recognized. Now, it's important.
You her case.
Okay,
it is
look.
Religious right.
Okay, look. How about this? Private property. You put a codicil in the deeds, that something that runs with the property, where you can only sell it to white folk. Now, is that going to stand? Nobody's ever applied for this because nobody black has had the money to move in this neighborhood. But can you allow that to stand?
Let's move on.
Well, see, there you go. You don't want to deal with that, but
I didn't even hear you. I didn't hear you because I had to work on this audio. What was you saying? Repeat what you just said. Repeat what you just said.
In other words, can you? Well, we've had it come up in the news. Broke folk down here in Arkansas and the Ozarks. They want to set up a situation where only white folk can move into the community. Can you allow that to stand even if no black folk want to move in there right now?
What
as
the
a condition
fuck
of
does
law?
that have to do with religious rights and
Because
freedom?
you don't get it. That's
It's too no, because you don't fucking get it. You're sitting up here. You think that you can sit
You
up
lack the knowledge
and throw me
You
some
lack
bullshit
it.
on the wall,
You
and I'm
don't
supposed to accept
understand
it because
it,
I
so
don't
you-
agree.
You
have
don't
your
understand
own
it,
personal
but it's
views.
important
You have your
consideration.
own personal views on
That's
something,
not
and it's
what
allowing
I'm
you to
doing here. I'm
fucking
not
judge me
dealing
when
with
it
this
comes
as a
to the
layman.
law.
I'm not
You
dealing
cannot
with
sit
it
up
as
here
a
and talk about
layman.
someone wanting
I'm a
their own
professional.
land. This
I am
woman, let me
stating a
talk. This
professional
woman did
situation.
not
I
ask.
cannot give.
This woman did not ask for her own special religious rights. She didn't. She just said, "You cannot crucify me. You cannot make me pay a fine. You cannot convict me when I'm trying to exercise my religious rights." This is about religious rights, not about same sex. So she refuses to do something that goes against her fucking religion. And that is the question in hand when we're talking about the law, not incest, not discriminating against society to where you just want your own racial group to live amongst each other. I'm specifically talking about religion.
Has come up. No case has come up yet, but it will. What happens if somebody said, I'm not even religious? I reject religion
I'm
as valid.
talking about
I'm an atheist.
okay, so
Let's
let
say
me
the
ask you this
person says
question.
I'm an atheist.
Let me
But
ask you
this
this
is
point blank
firmly
question.
against
Let me
my
ask you this
principles.
legal question.
Do you mean to
Let me
tell me
ask
that
you this
person has less
legal
standing than
question.
somebody that claims to
Let
do a
me
religion?
ask you this legal question.
Go ahead.
I don't want your opinion. I want your legal fact question.
That is all it is an opinion.
I want the facts when it comes to religious rights, religious freedoms in this country. What are they? What is our legal religious rights?
Same as everybody else. You can't advance them and you can't retard them.
The same as what are you talking about?
Their religious rights are the same as everybody else's rights, no more, no less. That's what it means when the Constitution does not respect religion. It's not a respecter of religion. You cannot infringe on somebody's practice of religious rights, but you cannot grant advantage because of religious rights.
In the United States, religious rights are primarily protected by the First Amendment to the
They're
Constitution, which
protected, but they
includes both
cannot be
the
advanced.
Establishment Clause. Let me finish. Which includes both the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. The Establishment Clause prohibits the government from establishing a state religion, while the Free Exercise Clause protects individuals' rights to practice their religion freely. These clauses, along with 14th Amendment, ensure that religious freedoms is upheld at both the federal and state levels.
You can't impose nor interfere with religion. That's 6 or 7 words. That's what that means. You can't impose it, nor can you interfere with it.
Freedom of belief. Individuals are free
And
to
by the way, it is an opinion, but here's the difference between mine and yours.
Can I read this first?
No, hold on. This is got to be put on the table. During presentation of testimony and evidence, a person cannot state their opinion unless they're qualified as an expert. Then an expert is permitted, because of education, experience, background, and acumen, to state an opinion about something that a lay person is not. I am not a lay person. I am an expert in the subject. I can state an opinion. That's what law is about. Those who are expert in the subject can state opinions about it, whether you're the law professor, the practitioner, or the judge. Now, that's what this is about. A doctor can state an opinion about the effects of certain situations, whereas a layperson cannot.
Limitations on religious freedoms. The religious practices that violate public morals or pose a threat to public safety may be restricted.
Yes.
The government can regulate religious practices that infringe upon the rights and freedoms of others. The government can regulate religious institutions that engage in illegal activities.
Yes.
So religious
You can't have
practices
a
that
religious
violate public morals or
institution that
pose a
says,
threat to public safety may be restricted.
yeah, you can't have a religion that says because of our religion we can import bootleg whiskey in 1928. You can't have that.
So going back to this woman's case.
Yeah, she can't be compelled to violate her religion, but we can't compel somebody else to practice it. So the point I brought up was, if you take an atheist, since you can't do to one what you can't do to the other and vice versa, what happens is, if somebody who believes in a religion cannot be compelled to do something against their conscience, you can't compel the person who is not religious to do something against their conscience.
So here's another.
It's called,
this is a
by
quick
the way,
scenario.
the term,
let me say something real quick.
is called conscientious objector.
Okay, so here's the thing. A doctor who is religious, whatever that religion may be, but they are a practicing religious person, they will not perform an abortion. They have a right to refuse that service. So that is more logical on the same on the same level as this woman who refused to give a marriage license to a gay couple. Now, that person that is seeking an abortion can go find another doctor who is willing to perform it. That person seeking a marriage license in that particular county courthouse or county clerk office can have another person issue them their license. They're not being refused a license. She does not want to give them the license because she feels it's participating in same-sex marriage, which goes against my religion. I don't want to perform an abortion because it's participating against my religion by terminating a life.
See, why do you have to have religion to have that as something that you conscientiously object to? For example, I heard
Because
it
that's
all
what
the
she's using.
well, for example,
That's her reasoning.
yeah, but I heard it all the time with this one. Do you have an objection to the death penalty because of your religion? No, my conscience just tells me it's wrong. I cannot participate and I could not vote for the death penalty.
That would be you. But for me, I would say yes.
Well, you could, but do I sit there and say, no, you're going to stay on this jury, even though you tell me you conscientiously cannot impose the death penalty? So you stay, but this person over here says because of my religion, I can't oppose.
Wouldn't that be the judge or the lawyer?
No, listen, I'm the judge. I've had to make this decision. Listen, this is the problem. Somebody says I cannot impose the death penalty no matter what because of my religion. Somebody else tells me it's not because of my religion, but conscientiously I cannot impose the death penalty under any circumstances. Do I say one because of religion gets excused from the jury, or the other one because it's not from religion, that one doesn't get excused?
No, you consider the one with religion.
No, it doesn't work that way because it's not fair to the state. The state is entitled to a fair trial. And if a juror is telling you for any reason they refuse to follow what the law is because of conscience, then they are entitled to have that person kicked off the jury for cause because they will not be able to impose the death penalty, even if it's not for religion.
It will get kicked
Do you
off.
want to do this? I can't do this on a conscientious basis. For example, let's steal. Well, no, I'm not going to steal anything because my conscience would bother me. Well, are you religious? No, it's got nothing to do with religion. You cannot base everything on religion because that is giving religion more than it's due under the American system. You cannot do anything against somebody because of the religion, but you cannot do anything for anybody for the religion.
So in other words, when I asked you, does she have a case to win? You said yes, but you just explained what you just explained just now. She will not win.
She may. Here's the point. It came up a lot.
Because it's not me arguing against you.
A lot.
But you just proved.
Look, you know when it came up a lot where people dealt with it often, somebody was a conscientious objector and did not wish to be drafted. And they said, conscientiously, I cannot bring myself to kill another human. Is that any different from saying you happen to be Catholic and you say you can't? Versus I'm an atheist and I say I can't? The effect is the same. You're causing a person to violate their
means she's going to lose at the Supreme Court.
No, not necessarily.
You just laid out the
excuse
case.
me. Maybe yes, maybe no. But
Okay,
I
so,
remember.
wait, slow down.
I remember.
So then wait. No, stop. Here's my next question, because then we got to get up out of here. If you said maybe, I'm saying what you just laid out, she's not going to win. But you said maybe. Explain why she may win.
Here's how this whole thing started. I've been around doing this long enough for when it first came up. It was easy for a defendant who was getting sued to say, I'm doing this for a religious basis. And the judges said, oh, that's great. Religion. That makes it so much simpler. We don't have to get so philosophical to resolve this case. Religion. So people got to citing religion, and they forgot that the reason that religion worked was because it was a philosophy that made it impossible for somebody in good conscience to do something. In good conscience, why ever your conscience bothers you is the issue, is the defense to being required to do something. It was very easy for the justices in appellate courts all across the country to have this issue simplified for them when somebody said, my conscience is determined by my religion. And people say, oh, okay, religion, that's easy enough. That is very clear, concise, and to the point without having to evaluate this person's philosophy.
Your argument on why she will lose is stronger than your argument on why she will win.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. The point is you shouldn't be allowed to prevail, nor to be denied based on religion. In other words, it just doesn't happen.
All right.
In other words, it's like this.
Wait, 1 second. Can somebody call in again? I just want to make sure, I want to see if the judge could hear, because maybe it was just that caller's phone number. Just quickly, somebody call in quickly before we get up out of here. We're about to get up out of here in 5 minutes. So somebody quickly come in. I just put the number in the chat. Go ahead, Judge.
See, the point is, if you say a person is allowed to not do this or required to do this because of the religion, and you start doing this thing that happens quite often, you start establishing a hierarchy to the religion. Okay, Christianity is most important. Judaism, since it's in the Old Testament, is secondarily, but Islam is the Quran that's separate and apart. So Christians get their way, Jews secondarily get their way, but Islam doesn't. Then you run into a problem. You cannot have a hierarchical determination of one religion is more important than the other. And if you can't do that, then you can say this person may be just as conscientiously controlled by what's in his or her personal philosophy as anybody else. So you can't discriminate against them by saying that doesn't count. And you can't give a favor to somebody by saying if you say it's religious, that counts. See, when somebody says my religion says I can't do that, what the law is actually doing is taking that label and applying it to all of the philosophical constraints and concerns that come into play. It's just a streamlined thing.
All right, area code 213. Hello? Can you hear the judge?
Yes.
Can you hear the judge?
Yes, I can hear.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can only hear you right now.
Say something, Judge.
Are you
testing? Did you hear that?
No, I can't hear the judge.
Okay.
I don't know why. Why not?
By the way, I'm not downing religion. I'm just inferring or elaborating on all of what that means, and we've gotten
Then I see your viewpoint.
What is this?
You can't hear that.
Wait 1 second. Consider moderate effort. I don't know what this is here. All right. So 213, did you want to say anything real quick? I appreciate you calling in because I'm just testing to see, I'm surprised.
Okay.
Why can't you guys hear him? But go ahead.
I can look at where the judge is coming from when he says religion is just a spiritual philosophy, because everybody has their own beliefs on how to deal with the spiritual aspect of their life. So I agree on that part. But I do have to point out that if it was supposed to be two men or two brother, sister, well, they're still allowed to adopt. So that's still kind of like having reproduction, ain't it?
Yeah, an answer to that. You're getting what I'm talking
because
about.
They're now, taking care of a child.
See, here's the point.
It might not be their
the
child,
point
but
is,
there's still a child involved.
But see, the point is this. It's you're allowing somebody to say gay couples should marry. They should be allowed to marry. Okay, they can. But has our legal system really thought the whole thing through? Gay couples can marry. It's got nothing to do with reproduction. Now, let's say that you've got a gay couple who happens to be two men walk in, but both of them are siblings and they want to get married. Can they get married? Or are they going to be prohibited from being married because of concerns with incest? But if it's impossible for them to biologically produce anything as a child, then incest does not apply. So there's no real reason why they can't get married if you are allowing same-sex couples to otherwise get married. But if you let the two same-sex siblings get married, then what you run into is you say some siblings can get married, but other siblings can't. And you give a good argument to siblings that are not of the same sex saying, hey, if we promise to not get married, if we promise not to have children, why can't we get married? You discriminate against us because you say these siblings could get married, but we can't. Now, let's go a little further.
No, I need to.
Wait a minute. No,
Stop.
Stop. You didn't let me finish with this. The point is this one. Let's supposing that the boy and girl siblings who want to get married agree to get sterilized. Can this sterilized brother get married to this sterilized sister when incest is impossible? You see, they didn't address that. So what happens when all of these things come up where you say, if you allow same-sex people to do it, you have to allow opposite sex people to do it because the same sex people could do it because opposite sex people could do it. The law has to be whole and complete.
Thanks. So the problem with the phones, I can't. I'm gonna have to do it on another device, not on my desktop. It'll have to be a separate device. So that's probably why you guys couldn't hear the judge. So I just closed down the phone lines, but I do appreciate people that called in. I appreciate you guys. I do appreciate CR sending in a donation. Appreciate you for that, and I appreciate you guys in the chat for hanging out with us today. It's Monday, early show on Monday. We usually do it in the evenings. May go back to the evenings next Monday. I don't know. I got to see how I feel. But thank you, everybody.
Have them join in when they call in as a guest. When they call in, pre-screen what they have, and then you.
Oh, that's not it. That's not it. They can't hear you, but that's because I'm
what I'm saying
on my desktop.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. I'm looking at the screen right up here. You might be able to get away with this one. If they called in, you can hear them, all right? You screen what they have to say, and then you do what you did with me. You're not inviting me in as a co-participant. You're inviting me in, and that's how I get in easily as a guest. So what you do is send them the link as a guest. They can
send them the link to the Well, the only reason why I prefer for people to call in, it's just easier because somebody may be somewhere and the reception's not good, so they're going to have a hard time logging on. Or if they do log on, it's going to be fuzzy, or the audio is going to be messed up, or they won't be able to stay on. So with the phone, it's like you dial up. But I didn't realize you can't hear, and I think it's because I'm doing everything on one desktop to where I need to channel in the phones on a separate iPad or laptop. And I'm going to try that next time when we do the show together. So that's why they couldn't hear you, but you can hear them, right?
I can hear them fine.
But they couldn't hear you. So I don't know what that's about. But yeah. All right. Listen. Oh, please subscribe to my my new YouTube channel. It's going to be all about health and wellness. Let me pull it up here. Don't have anything up here yet. I just put in my a playlist from my main channel in it, but it's called Love Your Health at Love Your Health First. Yes, this is all going to be about health and wellness. And so subscribe. I got 11 people so far. Okay, cool. So I'm going to post the link to that channel in the comment section. I pinned it in the chat. So go ahead now, guys, and subscribe to at Love Your Health First. That's number 1 ST at Love Your Health First. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to give you a brownie point. You raise an interesting issue. Translating to our immediate subject, it would go this way. In an extreme thing, a person is compelled to think like he's a girl, but he's got a dick. All right. So you should allow him to be treated like he's the gender that he fantasizes that he is. Well, take a homicidal maniac. They like to kill people. Can you let them carry out their particular compulsion of murder? No, you can't. So there are very important reasons the society has for not letting a homicidal maniac do his or her thing. The same principle would apply, that there's some interest of such importance to the public that just because a person has a compulsion to do them, that they can't be allowed to do them.
Okay. All right.
There balance is in the law. It's all about a balancing act.
Steve, what is an audio converter? Let me know where I can get it. But anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I will see you again on Monday. Judge, you'll be doing X Space tomorrow?
You know, yeah, but you know what you might be able to get away with it if the reception is okay. Just put it on speaker so everybody can hear the speaker thing.
I thought about that too, but they won't. If I put it on speaker, they won't hear you. I mean, you won't hear them.
Well, I mean, I can hear
you.
you.
Will hear them. Or if I put it on speaker and I put it to the microphone, that's another way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll think about that as well. Wait, let me see. Let me see something. Let me see if I can do that now real quick. 1 second. Can I sign in? No, I don't feel like going that way. No, just get away from me right now. I don't. Just give me a second. Wait. Okay, here we go. Account this. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Give me 1 second, Judge. Okay. Somebody call in. Hello? Oh, waiting for host to join. Start conference. Is that me? I thought I did. No. Actually, let me end this. How do I end it? Oh, web call. No. Yes. Call. Allow.
Conference is in presentation mode. There is one party in the conference.
213. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Can you hear him, Judge?
I hear him.
Oh, but he can't hear you because oh my God.
Testing.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No. He can't hear you because your audio was coming out of my ear here. I have to unplug my audio. See, I knew it was something.
Speaker and see if it works.
Hold on. Let me see if I disconnect this. Will it work? Hold on, 213. Hold on. Let's see. iMac speaker. All right. Can you hear me?
Testing. Mark 1, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. And can you hear the judge, caller?
Yes, I can hear the judge.
Okay, I can hear you.
All right, so did you want to say something to the judge?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say, hey, Judge, it's an honor to meet you and to speak with you. I have followed you for the last 2 decades. I'm a Southern boy myself, so some of the things that you say hits home with me. Now, as far as with Dana and her opinion on what needs to be, I do agree with her because, you know, people have the right to the pursuit of happiness to a degree, you know, as long as it's legal. And as far as for people of, you know, a particular gender, yeah, as long as they, there should be some conditions that they have to upheld if that's what they want to do. Like if a brother and sister want to, I think that maybe the brother should have a what's that when they clip your little
vasectomy.
Yeah, I think he should agree to that. And
I'm saying, supposing that he does, that was part of my proposition. Supposing he does. See, the overweening point is when the reason for the law stops applying, then so must the application of the law. We've had that happen where certain things get obsolete or other things go along and things change. But the point with the First Amendment is that you can't hurt somebody because of what they believe, but you can't give them help because of what they believe. In other words, everything's supposed to be neutral. You can't say we endorse this. You can say it's your business if you want to practice it. You can't turn around and say, because you practice this, we're going to jack you up. You have to say, as long as you don't hurt anybody, which is separate and apart, do what you want to do. So I'm just saying that there's certain balancing acts in this, like homicidal maniacs cannot be allowed to carry out what they are compelled to do. But on the other hand, other folk want to say, well, this other person should be allowed. So that becomes the problem with the law. Somewhere they need to bring it up. My point with the religion thing is how this all got started was somebody just brought up one of the various categories that could be free from discrimination, and one of them was religion. In other words, compelling somebody to do something against their religion. And that's what everybody took as a streamlined statement, which
all right, Judge, I really gotta go.
There may be other reasons.
I gotta go because I have things I gotta do, and I sorry, caller, because I pressed the button, but I don't like doing it like that. So I'll figure it out. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Judge. I'll call you in a little bit. Everybody have a good day.
Okay.
Bye.